Rapper Nicki Minaj has just went up to the United Nations to speak on behalf with Mike Waltz, who's the ambassador and moderated by Fox News, basically speaking on the growing escalation of attacks on Christians in Nigeria by militants. And I believe that this happened because Trump had made a post on his True Social network, and Nicki basically had said that she was happy with Trump and his decisions to get involved in what was going on here. My only question is, why would they choose Nicki to speak on this? Because some of us that are familiar with her music know that her music, I feel, is a little derogatory towards men. I feel that it emasculates men. We all know her beef with Cardi B. We all know her beef with Rock Nation. And then I do see online as well that some Muslims are very unhappy with this as well, because they're saying that the attack, and I believe that Nigeria has also said this, that the attack is going on both sides. But let me pull up the TMZ article real quick, because I know that they were talking about this. So, this is the collab nobody saw coming. Nicki Minaj is partnering with the Trump administration to address the United Nations to deliver remarks Tuesday in New York City, spotting the violence committed against Christians in Nigeria. But right here, Ambassador Mike Waltz says Nicki Minaj is not only arguably the greatest female recording artist, I don't know about that, but also principled individual who refuses to remain silent in the face of injustice. I like Nicki Minaj, so I don't want any barbs getting upset about this, but I have to say that I think it's a little strange, and I don't really necessarily know that if I agree with her being the greatest female recording artist. Is he talking about currently or of all time is the question. I'm grateful she's leveraging her massive platform to spotlight the atrocities against Christians in Nigeria, and I look forward to standing with her as we discuss the steps the president and his administration are taking to end the persecution of our Christian brothers and sisters. So yes, it looks like Nicki Minaj is definitely getting into her political attire. She looks great. I'll give her that. She definitely looks great.
Ambassador Mike Waltz here with the amazing Queen of Rap, Nicki Minaj, and I just can't be more thankful to you for putting your spotlight on the persecution. The president called it out. Nicki, you've called it out, and then we invited you here to the UN to learn more and to see what we can do to stop this.
Yes, you did, and like I said before many times, I'm honored that you even thought that I would be worthy to be in this caliber of a place. Because, I never thought I would go from rapping to being here, but I'm so happy and proud. And I'm happy that I can speak for Christians, and I will continue to speak for anyone that I feel needs my voice if they are being persecuted. And right now, I'm just wanting to let all of my Nigerian barbs, even if they live in the U.S., I want to let you guys know I love you, and thank you for your stories that made me understand more what was going on. And I will continue lending my voice. I hope to see more of you guys lending your voices to it. Let's do the right thing like we've always done. And Ambassador, again, thank you so much, and to again President Trump and his entire administration.
This is very interesting. I'm going to pull up some of the people that are not so pleased with this, but let's just hear a little bit of her speech at the United Nations.
Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear. Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity.
There we go. So that you now have a whole amazing UN barbs We're now your United Nation bugs. Yeah.
They gave her a pink United Nations hoodie.
Thank you so much for having me. When I tell you guys how honored I am, I don't think you understand. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
And I want to see what you guys think about this. I believe this take was from 19 Keys. Let's see if I can find his take real quick on this matter. Let me hear what he's got to say. He spoke on this matter. So if you read his tweet right here, I thought his tweet was kind of interesting because out of everybody that's been tweeting, he seems to be one of the few people with the voice that seems to disagree with this take. And he said that, basically that she's going full MAGA and that she's pretending to care about the Christian Nigerians only for her own personal gain, and aligning with Trump to gain political favor against Jay-Z and the Rock Nation. Because those of us that have been following, we know that she's having some serious beef with Rock Nation. I mean, serious to the point to where she's making some serious allegations, not just against Jay-Z, but against that whole administration, just everybody that's part of that company and how they're doing shady things, even from, I think it's one of Jay-Z's presidents or right-hand woman, even though it's like a right-hand man, but it's his right-hand woman, and how she's just doing shady things in the company, even with her own family. You guys can look into that. That's a whole nother story. Not sure if that's true, but there is this Republican who goes on rants, and some of the things I agree with what he says, but then some of the things I don't agree with what he says. You guys probably heard of this guy. He's pretty big on Twitter, right? And like when he's talking about the Democrat, they're giving an example of, this is him speaking on the Democrats, where he, I'll just briefly go over it, where he says AOC uploaded the video, viewers calling political cringe to social media. She appears to be proud of Cardi B's degenerate music that motivates young black women to make bad choices, like be promiscuous, have a child you don't want to keep, then maintain the insane statistic that there are more black children aborted in New York than born each year. And then, some can kind of argue that Nicki might not speak as far as those things, but she's not really that much far off different. This man is a full Republican or Trump supporter. So then he goes on to speak about Nicki, and he says, Grammy-nominated rapper Nicki Minaj will be joining UN Ambassador Mike Waltz with remarks, and then you could read all this. So it is kind of interesting how they switch the narrative when it's Democrat or Republican. Like I said, we don't want to get too political here. What we're basically discussing here is that it's interesting that these politicians want to bring rappers on to speak for these very serious issues. And I'm just kind of wondering sometimes, like, I don't know if they're really the move to make. I understand that maybe they're speaking up and they have their thoughts and beliefs, and that's fine. But are they really the people to speak about this matter? I don't know.